Right, so you can see we're now mounted the Trinidad 911 on the select jig. So there's various pickup points that the car is bolted to make sure the car is level and flat and straight. We've taken the decision to take both inner wings out both sides. There were so many damaged areas on those inner wings, and especially on the left-hand side there was quite a bit of damage towards the back. We've taken those out. So you can see now we've got new material in all the way up. There is various areas up the top here that we've had to backdate to get this looking 100% like an original panel. And there's lots of small things. We will follow and do things exactly as it would have been done at the factory. So if it's spot welded, as you can see along here, it gets spot welded. Same again down here. If it had a MIG tack, like they do here, in here, they get that. You can see like here, where we've got these MIG tacks here. We put exactly the same number that this car had, and this, you know, just small details. We've seen this change over the years of cars. Some have extra. It just depends on the guy that was doing them. You know, they were hand-built cars. So we'll put the exact number that car had. This car, as you can see here, this was part of the original. This was the original inner on this corner, and you can kind of see the level of damage that we were dealing with. You know, the rest of the inner wing was actually pretty good in this area, but all underneath here was rotten. Further back was rotten. All the nose was gone. This is what we'd normally expect to see across the front panel in here. We do expect to see that corroded, but there've been a lot of areas where somebody had already been in. You can see here where it's been previously patch repaired, and there was quite a lot of these pieces on this car. So yeah, the most important thing for these cars is once you get to this point, this is like your foundations of a building. You know, whatever you build on top of this, you know, the foundations have to be right. So getting this car straight, solid, corrosion free will be the thing that will make this car last another lifetime for other generations to see. Other cool stuff to see is obviously handmade sections. You know, you can't buy this, you couldn't buy this panel here from Porsche or any other manufacturer in the aftermarket sector. So this has been, as you can see, these corrode normally. There are brake pipes coming and you get brake fluid leak, takes the paint off and then it corrodes. Very common error on these 911s. These always do corrode here. So this has been handmade and gas welded in and metal finished. You can see anywhere where you've got these like red oxidey circles is where we've been welding up unnecessary holes that have been put into this shell. There was quite a lot of in fact there actually was here. It looks like where the car had air conditioning fitted. You can see the inner wing is off on this corner here, and you can see straight into the floor pan area of the car. Now on this particular RS, these floors are actually really good condition, but it had corrosion pitting in the floor pan, and that is the section that we've removed. If you poke these deep crevices hard enough with a small pick, you just go through. They're like little bits of tissue paper. So if we'd have left that in the car, it is solid, you can see on the other side, but that wouldn't have lasted. That would have rotted out again, and that's not something we want to leave in the car. You can even see where it's been sat, the corrosion started to come back again. So the only way to deal with rust like this is to remove it. So a section has been handmade in that car to replace that panel. So we've got a new A-post on the car here. This, as we order it from Porsche, couldn't just be fitted into the car. There is, I'll show you one just here. We've actually put this panel in, and this has been taken from the original A-post with the M8 logo and the door pin switch hole. And this little piece I've got on my hand is what would have been there. So you end up with a pin switch hole in the wrong place, So the door interior lights, they don't turn off, and the shape of the pillar is wrong. So it's just lots of small details to get the car exactly as it left the factory. And the only thing that we're doing is we wouldn't want to just put panels straight in that have a small detail that's not correct. So you can see here there's a pad that sits in the bottom of the door for the window mechanism to drop down onto. You can see where that's corroded. You can see the bottom of the door frame where it's corroded all the way along where the door skin is clinched on. And there's obviously been some previous repairs taking place. So up here, this is where Roy has repaired it. He's cut out the section that was corroded and remade that section, and he's gas welded and metal finished and put that in. So the idea is that we keep the original 73 inner door skins with all the correct pressings on the inside. The frames are made good, so they're nice and solid. And then once that's been made good, a new skin will be put on the outside, and then that door's fit for use again. Now you can see obviously here where the piece has gone in. There's a little bit more to repair on the corner of the door here, where the metalwork was quite bad. So again, that's been manufactured now. It's been spot welded in, and it's now going to be gas welded, the last final bit to put that piece in. And the good thing with a gas weld, if the penetration is good, then obviously you don't, it's a weld that can be dressed and worked afterwards, as opposed to a MIG weld. So in small sections like this where you're welding things in, the distortion is low, but you can work those areas to metal finish it. So as you can see along the bottom of the door where he's already gas welded that panel in. We've got the front tank support panel which closes off the axle cross member. Now these panels, again, as we order them, they're slightly different. So we have to, there was a brake line across here, you can vaguely see like a swage line, so we've had to lose that. We've had to put this depression in here, as you can see. We've moved the captive nut, kept the hole, but moved the captive nut to the rear. And also you can see this detail running all the way along. Again, this was flat, so we've had to add that piece in. So that, and again, this is a late RS. So although early RSs would have a very short panel, which basically doesn't have that end on it, it's completely cut straight across there. This is a late panel in the late car. So we know that's original for this car, and this piece will go into the car and drops into here. That's his final resting place. We've also had to modify this shape in here. It's very small details, but when it comes from Porsche, it's a triangular shape, and we've made it a gentle radius. But it's the small details that are important. So 911s have an outer sill and an inner sill. But once the outer sill is not on the car, inside that piece is what we call an intermediate sill. This is what gives the car its real strength. It's a thicker gauge material, the same as the inner sill, and you can see this louvered tube inside. That tube is the silencing tube, which silences the heater air coming through into the cabin of the car, so you don't get engine noise in the car. And again, you can see we've replaced this. This is new. It comes through to the back of the car where the jacking point is. Again, this has all been replaced. These are common. It's very soft around this area when they corrode. The items you can see in this grey colour, this is where we've hand manufactured repair sections to go into this area. Now once those kidney bowls are fitted, they sit over the panel in here. Now that's why these areas corrode in the car, is when they're fitted, you get all the mud trapped down the back here, and that's why these cars corrode in this area. So again, this is all ready now for these pieces to go into place.